Right, this is a quick walk around video for a Honda Civic. This is a 2.2 DTEC EX GT. It's a top of the range car. You can see a 12 plate car with 65,000 miles recorded. Finished in this absolutely stunning colour. It's very rare indeed, but looks absolutely glorious on the car. Car's in wonderful condition, but I'll go around the car for you just to highlight any imperfections if there are any on the vehicle. But starting with the front of the car, all the lenses, fog lights, running lights, daylights there, all in top order. There's no condensation or cracks in any of them. Bonnet is very, very clean indeed. Only minor stone chipping, which you'd get with any car with any kind of mileage at all, but they're very, very light indeed. Coming down the near side of the vehicle, really, really clean and crisp down the flanks. There's hardly a mark anywhere on there. Front tyres have just been fitted, brand new tyres fitted to the front of the car. Alloy wheel there in very, very good condition as well. Coming down the flanks here, I really can't see a mark of any note on there whatsoever. Rear tyre again almost new on the back. They look absolutely, got tons and tons of tread. Alloy again in beautiful condition. And just to go down the flank here, it's absolutely mirror smooth, it really is. Again round the back, not a mark to be seen on there. EX GT is obviously a sat-nav car, comes with a rear parking camera, but also gets front and rear parking sensors as well. Offside of the vehicle, as with the near side, in absolutely pristine condition, it really is beautiful. Rear wheel, Bridgestone tyre on this side, alloy, can't really see a mark anywhere on there. Continue down the flanks here. I mean, there will be the odd minor stone chips somewhere on the car, don't get me wrong, but you will have to hunt pretty hard to find them. Finally, final alloy there, just the tiniest little bit of curbing, don't know whether you can just see, just there, just been caught, but you know, realistically, that's the sum total of any exterior marks on the car. So coming into the boot area now, you can see tonneau covers there and intact. You've got the compressor and inflation kit in its little box there on these later Civics, but a quite massive boot area, it really is. Generally in very, very nice condition. Under here, you've got your power outlet, don't know whether you can just see that up there. And on the Civics, you've also got this hidden recess down here as well. If you pull that one back and give it a yank, drop it down, you've got another 7 or 8 inches of extra depth in the boot, so which is such a clever design. So coming to the back of the car now, rear door card on the near side, absolutely unmarked there. Back of the seats, again in very, very, very good condition, hardly a mark to be seen. Coming across to the offside door card, sorry about the light because it's dark on this side, again, take my word for it, it's absolutely clean as a whistle. Got the seats up in their vertical position. This just shows off the seats, the magic seats in all their glory, and then you can see just this huge amount of extra space for storage you get in these Civics. It takes literally seconds to pop these seats up, and even with one hand whilst I'm doing this, drop them down like that. It's all absolutely beautifully engineered, as you'd expect from anything to do with Honda, and the leatherwork that you see there is in wonderful condition. So coming to the front of the car now, driver's door card, as with all the others, absolutely spot on. It's a full set of original Honda mats in the car as well, which obviously protect the carpets underneath. Sill areas and all doors are perfect. Obviously lumbar adjustments and seat adjustments is electrical on for part of the seat on the EX GT models. So lumbar and these sort of big wing pads, but the leather work is absolutely beautiful. Likewise, obviously on the passenger seat there, exactly the same. When we look up here, so EX GT got this lovely big panoramic roof, and it's a full one-piece design now. Press a button on lovely bright sunny days, you might want to have it across. On days like today, let the natural light in, just press a button to open it up. So sitting inside the car now, just show the near side door card, absolutely spot on. Also full complement of original manuals in its manual pack with the locking wheel nut for the vehicle as well. Dashboard is in absolutely beautiful condition, it really is. Really lovely dashboards, beautifully built. Obviously you've got a sat-nav system there, pop it into reverse, and then you get a lovely crystal clear parking camera with a little guide box there as well. But all working exactly as it should. If I just go, up into the dashboard there, you can just see the mileage on there. 65,673 miles currently recorded. No warning lights on the dashboard, as you can see. It's all in absolutely beautiful working order. Electric folding wing mirrors, again, just to show them all working, and just like people to see everything's working as it should, which they clearly are. Coming across to this centre again, lovely legible dashboard. It's a lovely high up MPH readout, but then you've got a multifunction steering wheel there with cruise, hands-free functions and audio controls, auto lights and auto wipers, obviously standard fare on these vehicles. Down here, really simple to use air conditioning system, and obviously you've got your heated seats, all working exactly as they should. Gear lever, gator, everything just looks like brand new. Little center console here. You've got keyless start on these and keyless entry, so just put the key somewhere nice and safe or in your pocket, it's absolutely fine. And then in here in the center console, we've got your various ports, USB leads and power outlets and otherwise. But a wonderful car in absolutely wonderful condition in here. So finally, just to show you under the engine bay, as you'd expect from Honda, all really nicely presented. It's just had a service, new oil, filter, all fitted to the vehicle, and a full systems check of the car. Engines always sound noisy on the videos, so don't let that put you off in any way, shape or form. But a wonderful, wonderful unit. What should follow now will be a road test of this very car. Right, this is a quick road test video. This is for a Honda Civic, and this is the 2.2 DTEC EX GT model, so it's absolutely top of the range one. This particular car is registered LC12DYY. Mileage at the start of this brief road test is 65,654 miles. The reason we do the road tests is basically we want customers to see the cars in operation prior to coming to see us, and they are the very cars, you know, advertised on the internet. We just want to reassure anyone that's come to see them that they are as they should be, or if there's any issues with them, we can relay them back to you prior to making the effort and the trip to come and see us. The road test is also done on the roads literally just outside our premises, so it should be wholly representative of what any potential buyer should feel when they drive the car themselves. Starting with the engine of the vehicle, wonderful, wonderful units. We just serviced it, so it's just had a brand new Honda engine oil filter and oil change and a systems check of the car, and thorough check over. Engine's absolutely spot on. It starts beautifully, there's no strange noises. The oil that came out was actually relatively clean, but obviously that's been freshened up anyway. But it's a wonderful example of a truly brilliant engine. Cam chain driven engines, so there's no cam belts to change, which is quite often you find when you buy yourself a sort of 50-60,000 mile used car, only to find out that you're going to be landed with a £500 bill for a cam belt service on some of these cars these days. But no such fears on these cars. Said no warning lights on the car relating to the engine or anything else for that matter, all in absolutely fine order. But the engine pulls really sweetly, very, very gutsy indeed. And unbelievably economical as well. But as an example of one, which is obviously the point of the video, can't fault it. Worth pointing out that, you know, this isn't just a sort of checklist of tick boxes to say that, you know, our car's wonderful, because if there's anything wrong with it, I do relay it back to you. And I've, you know, got, out of the sort of hundreds of videos I've done for our cars now, you know, I do pick up on items, you know, but so this particular engine absolutely fine. Likewise, clutch actuation absolutely perfect. Bike point exactly where you want it to be. Clutch pedals smooth and squeak and click free, although that's more relevant on the older model actually than these new versions. They've sorted that out. But the clutch bites absolutely perfectly. Clutch then goes through to the 6-speed gearbox. Very typical Honda gearbox, wonderfully done. It's got a lovely kind of meaty weight to it, very precise, all but impossible to get lost in the gearbox. It's very, very easy to use, but it's got a real feel of engineering about it, which I love. genuinely, there's not an ounce of wear in it. You cannot, the linkage they use, obviously it's cables, but it's just of the very highest quality. There's no slop in it at all, and it's a real lesson to other manufacturers in just how to make these things not only sort of last a long time, but give you a really nice precise gear change, which is actually satisfying to use. Some gear changes can be utterly lifeless or recalcitrant at best, but this is a fantastic gearbox. So in terms of the mechanicals, engine, clutch and gearbox, absolutely faultless, really top order. When I did the pre-delivery inspection, I obviously checked around the brakes of the car. Looks like the front brake pads have been relatively recently changed because they've got loads and loads of pad left on them. Rear pads are very good as well, and overall brakes are really good. Hitting the brakes now, you can feel it under your pedal. There's no vibrations, no pulsing, no distortion to the no pulsing on the brake pedal. So it would suggest that all the discs are as I've witnessed. The only thing I did notice on the pre-delivery inspection, the front two tyres, they're not illegal. They've got just over 2 millimeters of tread, which would pass an MOT probably on an advisory. But it's going to go tomorrow to have 2 brand new tyres fitted to the car, because our internal pre-delivery inspection, it fails anything less than 3 millimeters, so that automatically fails it. So it's going to have 2 new tyres on by this time tomorrow. The rear tyres were almost like new on the back of the car, in all honesty, so no issues there at all. Heated seat, I can tell you, works absolutely beautifully. Just click that on just to try it. That's absolutely spot on. Also, as I drive along in the car, listening out for noises that really shouldn't be there, in terms of kind of wind noises. Sometimes if someone's cracked a windscreen, had it replaced, and they haven't fitted it right, then you get really annoying wind hiss, especially on cars as quiet as this one, or if the sunroof isn't sealed correctly, not something I've ever known on a Honda, or if someone's damaged a door seal getting in and out. But it's very quiet in here. It's lovely, actually. So they all seem to be absolutely fine. Steering on the car, very precise, nicely weighted, nice big chunky steering wheel on these later versions as well. It's a very satisfying car to drive, but again, in terms of the steering, there's absolutely, it tracks bullet straight. There's no vibrations, nothing at all, no tram lining from the steering of the car at all, so all in very fine order. Likewise, suspension of the vehicle, again, going about its business really nicely, very smooth riding, these new shape ones. Lost none of its kind of agility and sharpness in other respects, but it's got a compliance to its suspension that the previous generation didn't quite have, and that's to do with how they've sort of mounted the suspension these days. But again, when I'm on test drive, what I'm really listening out for, you can hear it going over bumps, which is quite right, but what you shouldn't hear is any kind of metallic noises where normally speaking it'd be things like little tie rods, little what they call them, drop links, that's right, on the suspension. They're designed to wear out, they're the weak point, and they can chatter away really annoyingly on cars with a few miles on them. They're not expensive to fix, but this is absolutely as quiet as a mouse, it really is. The whole car, in all honesty, it's been well serviced. It does have a feeling the car's been well looked after. There's a genuine tightness which comes from sort of good maintenance of a vehicle. So having checked the car this morning, there's so little to report back. Even all the reservoirs are exactly where they should have been as well. But they're wonderful cars. Looking inside the vehicle, we've not touched it yet. It's not been valeted. That'll be done tomorrow after the tyres are done. But it's not going to take a huge amount. All the leatherwork's in really fine order. Plastics generally are all very good indeed. Beautifully built cars, they really are. Not a hint of a squeak or a rattle from the inside of the car. Not that you'd ever get one on these new shape ones, not that I've ever experienced, but it really does give a feeling of solidity that sort of is as good as anything in its class. Its natural competitors will be things clearly like sort of Ford Focus, Audi A3, Golf, 1 Series, BMW, that kind of stuff. But it really does, in the real world of driving, not the first 2 or 3 years of ownership, these have a level of build quality pretty much unmatched by any of those manufacturers. They are, because it's how it holds together over the long term, which is more important. But sitting in here, it's a very high spec car, EX-GT. You've got electric adjustments on the seats for kind of lumbar support and that kind of stuff, which isn't standard on the standard EX models. Obviously you've got this big sat-nav system, large screen, very easy to use. In fact, it's an absolute dodder to use, in all honesty. And it all works absolutely perfectly. But again, part of the EX-GT pack is this lovely glass panoramic roof above my head, which is now all in one piece rather than the split of the previous generation. And obviously you've got this big blind that covers over, and that again works absolutely exactly as it should. The rest of the dashboard, and I truly love them. I love this 2-tier design, and I've heard rumours, and I've had it confirmed as well, that you may know yourselves, that there's a new generation Civic going to be coming out towards the tail end of the year by all accounts, and they've gone back to a more conventional dashboard, which I think is a real shame. It's funny how the motoring press, for whatever reason, gave the 2-tier dashboard a kind of a bit of a hard time, and I've no idea why, because I think it's a stroke of genius having this high up display for the speedo, so if something comes around the corner or I'm following cars, I can see the speed at the corner of my eye without taking my eyes off the road, and I think that's just a wonderful design. But now, ironically, they're all saying how they love this now. It's bizarre, it really is. But it's a wonderful dashboard to sit behind. Really, it's an interesting place to sit as well. It's not just that it's giving you the information, it's not just it's beautifully built, but the information is all easily taken in. But it's just such a nicely presented dashboard as well. It could be nothing other than a Honda Civic, which I really love about it. It's not one of these, Golfs and Focuses. They all look pretty much the same. They're just sort of variations on a theme. But this really is just a thoroughly lovely place to sit, and it works beautifully. Looking at the temperature gauge of the car, it's running at 1/3, which is exactly where it wants to be on a Honda car. So that's exactly, that's spot on. You've also got a little button on the right hand side, which economy, which basically sort of pushes the car into a mode that makes the car even more economical, sort of softens the engine mapping for fuel economy and throttle response and that kind of stuff. And it's just it just kind of adds to the fun. You can sort of do various things with the vehicle if you so wish. Multifunction steering wheel, all very easy to use, again, all working perfectly. So you've got information display, the screen up on the top left there, cruise control on this side here, so it's dead easy, and it all works absolutely perfectly. And then bottom left here we've got the hands-free functions and voice activation for various functions as well. Auto lights, auto wipers, so it's a very nice spec car. Obviously with the EX-GT models you're also getting keyless start, keyless entry. It's a lovely spec car. It's a lot of car for the money, and a car that will go on and on and on. But as I said, the point of the video today was really just to sort of give some feedback on the vehicle itself. I have to say, and it is genuinely the case, and I'm more than happy for someone to come and prove me wrong, I can't fault it. I simply cannot fault the car. It drives absolutely perfectly. It's tight as a drum. There's no wear detectable in any part of the vehicle when you drive it, mechanically or otherwise. So I can wholeheartedly recommend it. It really is a wonderful car. Clearly, if I've missed anything out on the video, then don't hesitate, do give us a call. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. Certainly not by intent or design, but occasionally my aging mind forgets things. But as I said, we'll be happy to sort of give you any answers to any questions you might have.